Good morning, my awesome followers. It literally feels like an age since I was spoken to last. Well, it is, it's like 5 days, but there's a good reason for that. It has been peeing down here, absolutely peeing down. Look at this. That's only half of it. I mean, I was out doing a session last night around Pinghead, which is like a little kind of 15-minute loop. Use it quite regular for effort. I started a sprint as I was going around a corner, but it was like a long kind of sweeping corner. I came around, I had to slam on the anchors, otherwise I would have been straight into like a massive flood. I mean, the last week has been absolutely horrendous. I'm sure it's been like that with you if you've been living in the UK. Obviously there's a fair few of you that aren't from the UK, and I'm pretty intrigued as to where you guys are from. Let me know down below. I mean, for those of you that know me the most, you know that I'm not like the biggest fan of indoor riding. Like, I'll ride it if the weather's totally abysmal, Armageddon weather, but the majority of the time I'll be outside. And I know British Cycling yesterday in fact released that they were going to be like partnering with Zwift. Let me know your thoughts on that. But this morning, like yesterday's ride was pretty nitty gritty. I just put the efforts on the screen for you to copy. But it's only an hour and a half. But today we're doing 3 hours, and it's a little bit more steady. There's nothing too major involved. Some Cadence stuff. One thing I have done, like, I've come out early. Like, I love riding early in the morning. I also love like riding in the dark. I don't know why, but riding early means that I could miss the rain that's coming later on. Like I said, I've been riding in the rain for the last 8 days, so just doing something different just to avoid that rain and avoid riding that turbo trainer. So this climb is called Krubin. Probably one of the hardest ones in the area. It's not that long, but it's just steep really. And because it's on a main road, you feel like one heck of a sitting duck to cars. Like, it's a 50 mile an hour, 60 mile an hour road. It's not nice. But like, ironically, it's super nice coming down it. Like, if you want to hit 50 mile an hour around here, like, this is the hill. It's gonna be really hard to vlog now because it's so steep. It's important, and I guess I was once told by a very good bike rider when I first joined what was then Rafikon GLT that if you're not in zone 2, you're not training. And the rider himself, he didn't mean like, you know, if you've got to ride zone 2 all the time, and you know, even like in between efforts. He didn't mean that. What he meant was, when you're doing rides like this, like, try and be in zone 2 for at least 75% of the ride as possible. It just means that you're actually creating some kind of change in the body, as opposed to riding in zone 1 or zone 3. If you're kind of switching between those two, you might get an average power of zone 2, but it's not the same. It's not the changes that you want. It's not what you're training for. If you wanted to train like that, you should do a specific interval session. But I'm really pushing that hard in a minute. When you're riding, you know, if you're not doing intervals, you're riding a zone 2. As in, when you're doing steady rides, you're riding a zone 2. Something else I'm experimenting with as well, which I know, like, you viewers, you love, like, when I open up on things like that, because I mean, we don't really hear enough about people experimenting with their training. So I'm just putting it out there. I mean, today I'm supplementing the ride with some different Cadence stuff. So I'm looking at doing like 2 blocks of 20 minutes. The first 20 minute, it's the same as the second 20 minute, but the first 20 minute is like 10 minutes at like 50 RPM, straight into 10 minutes at 115 RPM. So the reason why, and there's no real like power, there's no real right or wrong. I mean, this time of year you just gotta kind of get used to it. But obviously we'll incorporate like zone 2, zone 3 into that, so it'll become a little bit harder. You'll have to concentrate more. I'm literally creeping up these hills. That's what zone 2 is all about, like creeping along up the climbs. Say for argument's sake, my average cadence for this ride, like if you took the efforts out, the cadence efforts, my average cadence for this ride would be like 80. Now, the majority of the time spent pedaling today will probably be at 80 RPM, hence why the average is 80. But your body has this natural ability to find its, well, I guess its natural state. So if you keep riding at 80 RPM, your body will get used to it. Now, that's true for like almost any effort for me. So I'll ride at, you know, 350 watts and I'll be at 80 RPM. Maybe if I go higher, like 400 watts, I'm at 90 RPM. But usually it's that window. Now, what happens if you come to a climb in a race that's like 20% and you can't, like, you physically can't go higher than like 70 RPM? My body's not going to know what's hit it. Like, I'm not used to riding 70 RPM at 400 watts. So how do we train that? We obviously do it in training, and we obviously get the body used to doing something different. Same thing goes for the 115 RPM. Although it's very like unusual, you'd have to do that. But say for argument's sake, it's a really fast section of the race, down the descent or in a cross tailwind, you're in like 53.11, as hard as you can go, and you're spinning like 110 RPM, doing 300 odd watts. You may have to do that. Now if you haven't done it in training, your body's gonna be like, whoa, hang on, I can't deal with this. It'll start fatiguing faster than it would do normally, and then you get spat. But it's good to add it to rides, I guess, because especially this time of year, you don't have to stick to any kind of power figure. So hence why you can just enjoy it and slot them in. Oh, you're gonna have to forgive me. I was so out of breath. I'm 140 beats a minute, but it's just, it takes so much out of you, this talking and stuff, and holding a camera. Okay, we've got a busy weekend ahead, so I'm gonna wrap it up here. I've got 2 Christmas dinners. I know I'm gonna be like massive. Extra protein, remember. So yeah, 2 Christmas dinners, Saturday night, Sunday afternoon. I'm definitely gonna fit some riding in this weekend, so stay tuned for that, hopefully. Alright, let's get the rest of it done. See you tomorrow.